Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to this week's Animation School episode. In this week's episode, we're going to be covering a basic camera movement, a move in. Not a zoom, but moving in. And then we'll do a reverse of it and do a move out. So, let's get right into it. What you'll need for this week's lesson is a subject, for instance, a minifigure, that's what I'll be using. And then your basic setup from episode 1, including lights, camera stand, and your base plate. That's all we need for today, so let's get right into it. So, how we're going to animate this is, for every frame, we're going to move the camera stand one stud forward. Like we were doing with last week where we were moving it to the side, this week we're going to move it forward. Trying not to knock the camera as much as possible. So it could be easier to move the minifigure forward by one stud, however, in this case, it is easier, but in other cases, it wouldn't be. For instance, if you have a large set, it's a lot easier to move the camera than the set. But that's only for this case, because if you use a professional setup with the camera in the front, it'll be a lot easier to move the figure and the set than the camera. But today, we're going to move the camera. Because also, if you're thinking about it, in that method, you're still going to have to move the camera stand because you want the studs in front of the minifigure to go down without the ones in the back getting bigger. For instance, if I leave the camera stand right here and then just move the minifigure forward each stud, it wouldn't work very well because here it gets bigger, there gets smaller, so it just looks like the figure's sliding forward. So what we're going to do is move the camera stand forward a stud at a time until it's up there with the minifigure. Pretty simple, just make sure not to knock the camera too much because you don't want it to rock and shake. And also make sure you have your hands out the way where you take the photo because the lighting, you don't want it to cause light flicker. So, let me show you an example and then we can do the reverse of it. So, that was the first one, as you saw, pretty good. Again, bit like jumpy it seemed to me, but that might just be as the camera's moving. But overall it looks pretty good. I would recommend trying to make sure the subject stays in focus though, because for mine it didn't, which I was trying to fight with, but for some reason my phone just didn't want to focus on the minifigure. But maybe if I built a background it would have focused, but I'm not sure really. But yeah, that's just a basic zoom in, well not even a zoom in, that's just a dolly in I believe. So the next thing we need to do is a dolly out. So let me just show you that and I'll talk about that again in a minute. So yeah, that was just the basic dolly out. As you saw again, it was a bit blurry at the beginning and then it got clearer at the end. So yeah, probably the same thing. I could probably make a wall and it would be fine. But it's pretty simple to do and almost anyone can do it, I reckon. Just like the camera movements from the other day. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And, yeah, let's move on. So guys, that's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you next week. But also, don't forget to check out the other videos of this series to learn even more about animation. Because I'm teaching more each week. Well. And if you want to get early access to next week's video, go check it out on Patreon. I release it on a Wednesday, but that is for a small charge. But that's all for today. This is Ron the Stud, signing out. Bye!